That night in the bar, because it's short track racing after everything's done, doesn't matter your age, you're all at the bar with your whole team, and there's like a DJ or a band playing. And then I found out he was 18 and had a girlfriend, so I was very heartbroken.
Mm.
But that
So
night he told me, he said, call me once you're 18. And I did.
I went wide open, hoping for a little taste of that unknown, living in a fast car, living in a fast car days.
Welcome back to another edition of Checkers, Wreckers, and What the Heckers. My name is Chad Bearden. I'm a country music artist, content creator, and NASCAR super fan. Joined always by my incredible co-host. Please allow me to introduce them to you. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up and hide your razors. This man's hairline is more legendary than the 2001 Pepsi 400. He's got more flow than a busted fire hydrant and more bounce than a stripper on Dollar Beer Night. The main event, the follicle freak, the sultan of split ends. Give it up for the follicle phenom himself, Rick Kojan.
what's up? Thanks, Chad. My hair thanks you, and thanks for keeping me around for another week.
Yeah, appreciate you being here, as always. All right, this man isn't just the fastest man in North Carolina. He makes Dale Jr. look like he's stuck behind a tractor on Highway 29. By day, he's wrenching and ruling at Hendrick Motorsports, and by night, he's handing out penalties stiffer than a honeymoon in Vegas. The verdict is in, guilty of being too damn fast, too damn funny, and too damn good looking for his own good. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your beer cans and your bedroom furniture because entering the courtroom of chaos is none other than Chris, the Supreme Court Justice.
Welcome back. Thanks for another week. Looks like we got some pretty cool guests on deck, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to get into that. Before we do that, we do want to remind folks of a couple of things we got coming up, right, Ricky?
We do have some things coming up. And actually, this time I actually know we have some things coming up because I'm paying attention.
Yeah, you are.
It's
What's the
free.
first thing we got coming up?
First thing we got coming up, at least on my agenda. I don't know if it's the first thing we got coming up, but I'm gonna talk about a little shindig that we got going on down there in Kannapolis
Yeah.
at the Old Armor Beer Company. Put it on your schedule for October 5th. October 5th is the Roval weekend. And heading into that weekend, we're going to do a little ditty on Friday night, 5 p.m. at Old Armor Brewery, Old Armor Beer Company, and with a special guest. And who's that special guest?
We
Chad?
got Kerry Earnhardt coming to hang out
Nice.
with us for an hour to talk his driving career, his family, the legend he is carrying on, and all things Earnhardt, as well as probably sipping on a few of the only licensed Earnhardt beer in the world.
Are we allowed to drink on that podcast?
You know you are.
Absolutely.
You know you are.
Am I allowed to drink on this one?
Absolutely.
It's never stopped you
I
before.
don't think you're supposed to drink when you're on meds, but I don't really give a damn.
You're at home. You're not driving.
That's true.
All
Drive
right,
my ass
Chris.
right out of this chair.
Chris, what else we got going on?
We got October 19th, 9 a.m. at the NASCAR Fan Experience in Talladega. Dega, baby. We're also doing another live show with another special guest. So be prepared for all my Dega goers. You got to check us out Sunday morning, 10:19.
We're not revealing that guest just yet. We're holding
I still
on to
can't
that.
believe we have that guest, to be perfectly honest.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's solid.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff coming up. Excited to get into this guest episode. I want to remind everybody our guest episode today is brought to you by Chord Buddy, making guitar players on day one guitar playing made easy. You strap it over the neck of your guitar and you are playing hundreds of your favorite songs on day one. Check out their website, chordbuddy.com. That's spelled
CHORD, buddy, not cord like a vacuum cord. And again, like I thought it was on the first episode. Dumbass.
Yes. cordbuddy.com for their full line of products. They got the Cord Buddy, the Uke Buddy, and a full line of guitars. Travis texted me earlier today, fellas, and said he sent us out a nice big package of things.
Nice.
So excited about that.
Sounds
But
good.
we have
Who we have?
we have on the show tonight some very special guests, not just one, but two.
Doubled up, a pair.
Yeah, let me tell you about them.
2 for the price of 1.
BOGO.
Ladies and gentlemen, hide your daughters, hide your sons, and definitely hide your horsepower because the garage's hottest power couple has arrived. She's the queen of speed who leaves men choking on dust and their pride. He's the wheelman who proved the fastest way to a woman's heart is through the damn throttle pedal. And together, they're the Bonnie and Clyde of NASCAR, burning rubber and breaking rules and the internet. Give it up for Natalie Decker and Derek Lemke. How we
Thank you,
doing, y'all?
guys. Thank
I
you.
love it.
Thank you.
You are now the queen of speed, and the 2 of you are Bonnie and Clyde. I take notes on these. I think that's
Yes.
a good Chad. That's a good one.
They
You like
usually
it?
stick too. They usually stick.
Yeah, we will be walking down pit road and people will be yelling follicle phenom at Rick or
So stupid.
You might have to text me that script there so I can change my bio on all my social media.
That would be badass.
that's awesome.
That's doable.
Yep. Very doable.
Yeah, we were walking through Bristol this weekend and for pre-racing, all the drivers, they did their lap around on the trucks or whatever, and we're standing by the 41 car for the Xfinity series, and Josh Williams walks by Rick and goes, "Hi, Dad," and then has to come over and take a picture of their mullets together. It was
Chris,
pretty
it was
epic.
unbelievable. He sees me. I looked at him. I pointed. He points at me. Comes running over. He's like, "Hi, Daddy."
Nice.
It was
Oh my
epic.
God.
Like
It was a good
pre-race-
moment.
pre-race
People were
and
laughing
everything.
their ass off.
Oh, all right. Well, let's get into you guys. Enough about us and all the crazy crap that we do. But I want to talk about you guys, what you're doing, kind of how you met and tell your story, because I love, we've had lots of drivers on and we get to hear individual driving stories. But the thing I love about what you guys are doing, and I'll say this and then we can back up, but you guys are legitimately doing this as a family. Like every aspect of this is all in together, right?
Yeah, absolutely, which is kind of wild because it can get intense, like working with your family members. You don't know when to stop working and when to be a family and when to stop being a family and when to start working again. So it can get a little chaotic.
Yeah.
And, it's my parents and myself. So Derek sometimes can feel like the outsider. So it gets a little crazy.
Yeah. But you guys met at a racetrack when you were young, right?
Yes, I love telling the story.
Please
So
tell.
we met at his home track, Elko in Minnesota, and I was coming there like a week early to do a weekly night show before like the big touring series came. And I was 14 years old and I was standing in like the line at the pit gate to sign in to get our pit passes. And he was like a few people in front of me and he was wearing a hockey hat that said Bauer and it was baby blue. And I told my dad, I said, if that's a race car driver and a hockey player, I'm gonna marry him. He wasn't that good at hockey. He's better at racing. He played JV. I played varsity when I played hockey. So I hold that over his head. I also hold over his head that he's
Dang.
never beaten me in a race car. So
Oof.
So we're just gonna clear
we're
this
just
up
gonna shit
right
on
now.
Derek the whole night.
I played hockey in Minnesota. She played hockey in northern Wisconsin. There was like 9 girls on her team. So like
More.
everyone from 7th grade to seniors played on varsity
That
and
clears it up.
each other 3 times.
Way to clear it up.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So
Those are details.
yeah. What were you guys racing when you first met? You said that you were doing a weekly show. What were you in?
He was racing super late models and I was racing limited late models. So I was actually racing against his dad that night, which his dad has always kicked my ass. But then I saw his dad, not knowing it was his dad. I'm like, wait, there's a lot of good looking guys here. And then I found out that Derek was his son, and I was like, oh, good. And then that night in the bar, because it's short track racing, after everything's done, doesn't matter your age, you're all at the bar with your whole team, and there's like a DJ or a band playing. And then I found out he was 18 and had a girlfriend, so I was very heartbroken.
Mm.
But that
T-
night he told me, he said, call me once you're 18. And I did.
She did.
Wow.
Oof.
Wow.
Putting it out there.
That's impressive. So, Natalie, we'll start with you and then we'll move to Derek. But how did you get into racing cars?
Well, it's kind of crazy because my parents owned a snowmobile racetrack. So I grew up around snowmobile racing, and that's how
Wow.
I fell in love with like motorsports.
Okay.
My dad's always been a fan of NASCAR. It was always on our TV like every weekend. And he would always tell me like all of his stories growing up, racing jet skis with Vanilla Ice and like all these famous people that he's met. Like he one time drove down and bought one of Mark Martin's race cars and tried asphalt racing. And then that didn't really work out. He liked dirt racing and snowmobile racing. But like hearing all of his stories growing up, I'm like, wow, I really want to do this. So it was between two things. I always said that I wanted to be a race car driver or a doctor because I
Jesus.
have an autoimmune disease. So I was in the hospital a lot. And I'm like, this is really cool. I love, I want this job. This looks fun. Yeah, no, there's no way I was going to become a doctor. The racing's way more fun.
All right. So what did you start racing?
I started racing in go-karts. So when I was about like 4 or 5 years old, every day I would like ask my dad when he was bringing me to school, I'm like, will you please get me a go-kart? I want a go-kart race. And his story's a little bit different than mine, but he said that he bought it off of Craigslist and it was a purple sparkly go-kart. And the dad he bought it from bought it for his daughter and she didn't like it. So when he picked it up from this other dad, he said, don't worry, she's going to drive it once. She's going to hate it and you're going to sell it and it's going to be all done and you won't have to worry about a thing. 4 years later, I was racing super late models down in New Smyrna after he bought that go-kart.
Nice.
Wow. So what did you start out in, Derek?
I started in quarter midgets, so they kind of look like sprint cars without the big top wing on them.
Right.
And did that for a while out at my home track. We raced on Sunday mornings. Dad raced on Saturday nights. Um, we'd show up with his big stacker trailer for our little go-kart when he was in town. And when he wasn't in town, we had a big old 40-foot gooseneck trailer, and my mom would show up. We'd be there about 6 hours early because she wasn't quite ready to maneuver it in the pits with full trailers.
Amen.
And she always
Much
said it
respect
was
for
really
that.
nice to all the dads to push me off so she didn't have to.
That's
And
a
let
good
me
mom.
Yeah.
all this was on dirt, right? Given that the backgrounds,
No, these are all on asphalt.
oh, asphalts. Okay.
Yeah. I wish. I aspired to be a dirt racer in the last like 2 years.
Don't get me started. This is his new dream and goal.
Oh,
So
I've seen your reels and your TikToks about it. So we'll get into that for sure. So Derek, I'm assuming that your dad got you into racing.
Yeah, he was racing from before I was even born. His side of the family was
that's
big
how you
into
guys
it.
met.
Yep, my parents met. I think my dad walked into a Valvoline store, and oh, this is kind of a cool tie-in here. My dad walked into a Valvoline store looking for sponsorship, and my mom was like the receptionist or something. And
She said, "I'll sponsor
back
that."
then, however it went down, but that's how they met. And then my dad was sponsored by Valvoline the same year Natalie's dad was sponsored by Valvoline on a snowmobile.
And then to make it even crazier, his mom then went to go work for Polaris, and Polaris sponsored my parents' racetrack. So Michelle, his mom, would come to my dad's track to make sure everything with Polaris and the sponsorship was like running smoothly in the suite. And all of the guys there were in love with her. They all wanted to date Derek's mom.
Mm.
Like our families knew each other before we knew of each other for a
Wow,
while, which
that's
is
really
kind of crazy. We found all this out like one Christmas when all the families were
Yeah,
together.
they're like, wait, we all know each other.
that's
It's
awesome.
crazy.
So, Natalie, you turn 18. You've been racing this whole time, and you hit Derek up. It's like, what's up, bro? I'm 18. How does this
Yeah.
story
Yeah, how did
progress from
that
there?
phone call go
So,
down?
It's
I'm not going to tell the actual story because it's like very, I don't want my dad to hear it. So,
oh,
and he's going to watch this. My mom knows. So, mom, if you're watching, you know.
Fair enough.
Um, so yeah, I
so
was
now
racing.
you're just telling your dad that your
I
mom's
was gonna
keeping
say he
secrets from him.
basically knows now that there's something being kept hidden, but okay.
So I text him on Valentine's Day. So
Mm.
I don't actually, yeah, I was just 18 for like a few months. And we were both racing in Florida. He was racing legend cars and I was racing super late models, but different tracks. And you actually texted me first saying, "Hey, how's your weekend going?"
Just checking in.
And then I waited a little bit because it was going to be Valentine's Day in a few days. And then I sent him a sweet little Valentine's Day message. And yeah, we
Look at
haven't
that
stopped
grin.
talking since.
Do you see the
Wow.
grin? She said I sent
Oh,
him a nice Valentine. You
oh
see that? You
yeah,
see, he perked right up.
yeah.
And
Just
Derek, you're how old then?
We're like 3.5 years
4 years?
apart.
Okay, yeah, I
Four,
thought
yeah,
she
Yeah.
4 years.
said
yeah,
at one time I thought you said, yeah, you were 14 and in that line for passes and you saw him with the power hat. Okay.
yeah.
So
So
four
you're
years.
23 or 22, 23,
Yeah,
21,
somewhere around
22.
there.
If I did math right, 21,
Yeah.
22. Yeah. So
Somewhere around there.
yeah.
Good job, Chad.
I'm from Alabama. It comes
Yeah.
slowly.
We know.
So you guys start dating, you keep racing. Both of you are still racing at this point. Like how does that work trying to navigate racing in different places and building a relationship?
I've never been superstitious my entire life, except for 1 year. And it was the year we started dating because I would go to his house for like about a week because we live 4 hours apart. He's in Minnesota and I'm in Wisconsin. So I would go to his house and I would stay there until the day before my race. And I would leave from his house and go directly to the racetrack and meet my team there. My team as in my mom, my dad, my Auntie Sue, my grandparents, and then the crew chief. So I would meet my team there and then I would race and I'd win every time. Like, so I'm like, okay, I have to go to Derek's house for a week and then go to the race. So I think I won like 8 races in a row almost our first year dating. And then we had like a falling out with the crew chief I had at the time, and everything kind of blew up. But things happened for a reason because all of that happened. We were like so determined to find the sponsorship to go race in the ARCA series and like go race at Daytona. And within just like a few months, it like all happened. It was the craziest thing. So it was like, everything happens for a reason. But sadly, that year that I was like winning all of those races, there was still a good chunk of the season left, and I would have definitely had the championship. But because we had the falling out,
Oh
we
gosh.
didn't own the car. So we had like a car owner and crew chief. And so I sadly lost the championship and I blame Derek for it.
Was Derek the cause of the fallout?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
without saying, yeah, I don't.
I don't know.
That's fair.
It was
But
definitely just like a weird thing that happened that was, everything happens for a reason because it led me to being like so determined to find sponsorship to race in ARCA. And then it was like out of nowhere it happened. Because it
and
costs a lot of money to go ARCA racing.
Hard to
How'd you find
explain.
that sponsor and who was it?
It was the craziest thing because it's so difficult going out and finding sponsorship and asking these companies for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Everybody
I've
knows that.
never
You're
even made a
right.
start in NASCAR yet, let alone the ARCA series or anything. Like
Yep.
my name is so tiny, I'm only racing in the Midwest, locally. So we've been reaching out to all the connections. My parents, they own the track at the time when we were doing this. So they're reaching out to Amsoil, like all these people, Polaris, everyone that we work with the track, but nothing was gonna like relay over. Like no one really cared to make that jump. It seemed like to like go and spend that money and they didn't like see the ROI or whatever.
Mhm.
So I was like getting so sad. But then my mom reached out to a really good friend of ours that, well, I would say he was a really good friend of my grandpa's first. And his name's Carl Ritterbusch, and he's just this really smart business guy, and he does a lot of stuff with a lot of different things and a lot of investments, and he builds like FedEx buildings and like all this stuff. Like he's just this crazy smart guy. And she reached out to him asking for guidance in finding sponsorship to go racing. And that day we sat down in that meeting, he goes, I want to sponsor. So
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
what? My face didn't change. Like my parents thought I wasn't happy at first. And after the meeting, I'm like, no, what just happened? I'm like, what? This is gonna change my life.
So when was that ARCA start?
That was then,
2017.
yeah, 2017, and we started dating in 2016. So it was only like 6 months later. Not even, yeah. Um, and Um, then I signed for 4 races. He agreed to do 4 races. And after we signed that, we just announced it and like the exposure and like just the noise of it on the internet was so intense that he called us and he's like, we're gonna actually do 7 races this
Oh,
season
wow.
before I even did a race. And I was like, this is so insane. And then after we finished those 7 races, we signed a full season with with Venturini Motorsports, and I did a full ARCA season.
That's awesome. So you started at Daytona. That was your first race in
No, my
ARCA.
first race was
Was
at
it-
Toledo. It was
Oh,
at a
wow.
short track. You
Yeah.
you can't just
Yeah,
go,
you can't jump in. Yeah.
yeah.
Fair.
You have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like
You
work
gotta,
your way
yeah,
up.
qualify
Come on,
and get your
super fan.
license.
She's got to get checked out for those speeds on the high banks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Derek, what are you doing in this time?
When we first started, I was still living in Minnesota, just working a regular job. Um, we started once everything started after these 7 races. We started talking about possibly moving down to North Carolina. Um, and my whole family, everyone kind of stayed in Minnesota. No one's ever really like flown the nest. So we kind of thought about it for a while. And then finally, one day, I don't know what happened at work. I got mad, tired, whatever it was.
Wait, I have to tell this story. So I'm at his house waiting for him to come home from work, and it's the afternoon. I'm making myself lunch, just hanging out, like I'm about to go tan in his yard, like just waiting, right? And he comes home shirtless, like through the door, upset. And I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I quit. I even gave them the shirt back.
Yeah, it's nice.
So then that from that day forward, he then got a job at my dad's racetrack and started working
Yeah,
for
that
my
winter
parents.
I worked at the snowmobile track, and the 60 days that we spent at the snowmobile track in Eagle River, we were making plans to move down to North Carolina. And then one weekend, Natalie and I got a little U-Haul trailer and loaded up all our stuff that we needed and headed down to Concord, North Carolina, got an apartment, and been
Wow.
here ever since.
And when we moved out here, my full job focus was on my full season with ARCA. And like the difference between the like ARCA racing and even trucks, the purse is like nothing. So it's like you're not going to make any money.
Right.
No matter if you're winning every single race in the ARCA series, you're not going to make money. You could start and park a truck and like you could pay your bills and feed your family.
That's
So
because John Menard's keeping all the money anyway.
Ouch.
So I told Derek, you got to go get a job.
Is
Like we
it
need to buy
wrong?
groceries. So he went and it like not even a week of us moving into our apartment, got a job at US Legend and he was like building the bandoleros and legend cars and stuff.
That's awesome.
Where was that at, Derek? At Charlotte
Yeah,
Motor
that's
Speedway?
it's
off
right
49,
behind
I
there
believe,
in
right?
Harrisburg,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
600 Racing. So
Got it.
So
that
we lived off of your paycheck from there and selling t-shirts on my website. Like I made a t-shirt for every single race that I did, a special
Mm.
t-shirt. So I'm like, if I can have my fans buy a t-shirt every time I go race, if I can have 50 to 100 people buying t-shirts, I was like, we'll be good. And we did it.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
So when did the TikTok, Instagram, social media thing kind of take off for you? Because even before, like, I mean, obviously I'm a NASCAR guy and I love NASCAR. But even before I really knew who you were, like the algorithm is feeding me Natalie Decker on TikTok. So, so like the first things that I started seeing from you was when you guys were building your barn dominium and your dogs and all that kind of stuff. So like when did all that start for you and how did you kind of get into that?
When we first moved down to North Carolina in 2018, right? 2019? I don't
I
know,
think
somewhere around there.
19 something.
YouTube was like this really big thing. It was becoming huge, and like influencers were like starting to be known. And I told Derek then, like, okay, well, this is like a great way for me to tie in like sponsorship. Like if they don't understand the logo on the race car and like the amount of press they'll get being at the track, they will understand social media because it's becoming this thing that like people are spending their advertisement on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, but TikTok wasn't a thing yet. Not until like
Right.
COVID, I feel like TikTok got huge. So like I started taking it seriously, but I had no idea what I was doing. But my following just kept growing slowly and slowly and I did it all by myself, just myself, my mom, and then my Aunt Dee Sue, just us three girls. And we did all like the press releases, everything all by ourselves. We still do. And then when TikTok kind of during COVID became a thing, I was racing with DGR. And that's when like now being an influencer is cool. I would say like it started to become cool. People were like, that's what I want to do for a job. And I was like, yes, I'm on the right track because if I can't sell the sticker on the car, I can sell them the social media and then it will pay for then, the car to them is just a bonus if they don't get it. And when we like sadly lost that partnership with Carl Ritterbusch, the one that pretty much launched my whole entire career into racing, we were all on our own then because like he was funding my racing all the way up until Nice Motorsports was the last season. So that was the last,
That
um,
was 2020.
yeah, 2020. So during COVID. Um, so then we've now had to find all of the funding on our own. And I'm so glad that I like really took social media seriously because that is the number one reason why sponsors want to work with me is because of the platform that I've built on social media.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to remember where I wanted to go from there. So you kind of launched that. You start showing like your dogs. You're building your cool barn dominium, which is like I'm so jealous of your barn dominium, by the way, and especially now that I see the fireplace. I mean, but yeah. When did the dogs come along, by the way? Because you were
Oh,
living in an apartment, right? So
yes.
like, and you have they have big dogs, Rick.
What
So
does
the
that mean?
story is, and Derek butt in at any moment. When I was racing with DJR, like mentally, I was not doing good. So from Venturini Motorsports, my full season in ARCA, I after that season was done, I hated racing. I was like, what am I doing? Why did I make this decision? This is not what I expected. This is miserable. Like I like truthfully was so upset and so miserable. And I'm like, this cannot be what I thought the sport was. Like it was just like not what I imagined. So
You
then when
hated
I
it
moved
with
over,
David Gilliland, not you
no, with
like.
Venturini,
Oh, you didn't like it
going
with
into David
Venturini in the ARCA
Gilliland's.
car.
Right. Yeah. So then when I moved over to the truck series and I started racing with David Gilliland,
Yep.
I remember sitting in his office talking about bringing my sponsor and myself to his team. And he like opened my eyes and was like, that this is not how it's supposed to go. Like, let me show you like a fun year. And let me tell you, they did. They showed me a fun year. Did I have a good year racing? No. My results, not great. But mentally, it built me back up. And we're getting to the dog now. I remember after a while, there was like scandal after scandal after scandal, all fake news, and then wreck after wreck after wreck. And I was just crying at Martinsville. We were practicing. And I was the fastest truck there out of all my teammates. I was so proud. They're like, hey, well, we're going to do one more session. I backed it into the wall.
Oh,
And it wasn't bad, but I broke down. I was crying so hard. And David came in and he's like, you need a dog. He's like, you need a dog, get a dog. It's gonna help you. And it did. I got a dog. He told me to get a
For
dog.
like a year and a half before all this, Natalie was, I don't want a dog. No, we can't get one.
I hate dog hair.
He's on the road. There's so much dog hair. So after David said this, we went over to like the Concord Humane
You
Society,
got a dog.
just looking through it. No, because we didn't take him home right away.
Yeah, because we had to go to Michigan.
We walked
Or
through,
something.
we found the one dog that wasn't barking in his kennel. He just kept stepping in his own poop. Sad thing. And I was like, Nats, let's take him home. And she was like, no, we have to leave tomorrow. We're going to Michigan.
Which
So
was my best race of my entire life until my teammate on the front row decided to wreck the whole field. And then I'm like, all I could think about during that wreck was, I need to go home and get that damn dog.
long story short, we made a deal. If the dog was still there when we got home from Michigan, we could go and get the dog. And now his name is Cash, and we've had him for
6 years.
7 years.
Weren't you guys in an apartment then? The apartment
Yeah.
could handle the dog?
I don't know that we fully told them.
Perfect.
Fair enough. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I
Yeah,
got
that's good
really
stuff.
good
Absolutely.
with the wood putty for those, fixing all the molding
Yeah, he ate
in the
everything.
apartment.
But recently after getting the dog, we were moving out of that apartment and into like a rental house.
Got it.
Which also the dog ate everything in that house and Derek had to fix it.
Yep.
So
Well, it sounds
And
like he's really
Penny,
good at
our
fixing
other
stuff.
dog came along on coincidentally our like anniversary.
5 year anniversary of dating.
Our neighbor, I guess Natalie was talking to the neighbor about wanting a dog, another dog, and she just showed up one Sunday morning on our doorstep, like at 7 a.m. with a puppy and was like, hey, we're fostering this dog. Do you want to hold it?
And I said, I
Mm.
want it. It's our 5 year dating anniversary today. We'll take the dog.
Sucked you right
No
in.
discussion. No discussion
Timing
there,
is
Derek.
everything.
I wasn't against it. Once you hold a puppy, it's kind of hard to say no. Our
Right.
neighbors have a bunch of puppies right now. I refuse to go over there because don't need a third dog. We have a baby.
Right. Well, and I want to get into that. So you guys, Derek, you decide that you want to keep this chick. You decide to ask her to marry you, I'm assuming at some point. Or Natalie, did you ask him or tell him?
Oh, I kept telling him, propose in 2 years. Propose in 2 years. Propose in 2 years. And then it's like 7 years later. He's like, so
It went propose in 2 years, propose in 2 years. This is like year after year. And then all of a sudden, like she
it's like
just
6 months.
she just told me it. She's like, you have like 3 months to do it, or I don't know what we're doing. So
Wow, pressure's on.
Suddenly
But
it had a time
Natalie,
limit. It had a shelf life.
I proposed in Wisconsin. We lived in North Carolina here, and Natalie traveled all the way to Wisconsin carrying her own ring, and she just didn't know it
That's
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
Yeah, he put it in my backpack.
because I knew she wouldn't search her own stuff.
That is ingenious.
That's really good.
That
So,
is good.
so how did you do it?
The proposal?
Yeah.
That almost ruined it.
Yep. Chuck
Oh,
almost
boy.
ruined it.
And he had no idea.
I had like 4 different options. We were kind of like, I ran up to the play. I've been watching football, so like I had like 4 audibles ready.
Right.
And
I've never heard you use a football term.
I know we just spent all weekend watching football. I wanted to do it in the snow and perfect vision. Natalie lives in like a cool town. It's like a Hallmark movie in Eagle River. So I was like, the streets are empty at like 9 o'clock. If we got a good snowfall and the little downtown, it's like old looking, and do it in the middle of the road, and we had photographers lined up for it. I
Yeah,
was like,
you did.
"It'd be really cool. Because
Yeah.
it's for the picture.
Right.
Mhm.
Of course.
Right.
So I had that thought, and it didn't snow very much, and it didn't work out. So we were getting close to my deadline that she gave me,
Your
and
90-day shelf life.
yep, and snow wasn't coming, blah blah blah. So we went down one of her trails on her property in Eagle River, and
Wait, but the day that he does it, we're working all day. Like I had two podcasts, we had a meeting, like you had to make a proposal. We were working all day in the kitchen. And then he's like, take your, and like the Packers were playing or something, maybe. Yeah, that night. So I
Yeah.
had like a Packers sweatshirt on, and he's like, go change. Let's go for a walk. And I'm like, ew, no, when have you ever wanted to go for a walk?
Ew.
Ew.
I needed to get her outside.
And he let me pick his outfit out. It was like really weird. I was like, I don't want to go for a walk.
And
I don't
nothing
think he
clicked.
didn't pick up on this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like looking back at it, because I
Then we're about to leave the outs to go outside because now I don't want to go for a walk. And now he has me hooked because he's like, the snow is so pretty on the trees. It's supposed to be really windy tonight and it's not going to snow for a couple days. Let's just go get a couple photos before the sun sets. And I'm like, okay. So as we're walking out the door, my dad goes, did you see the big snowstorm coming tonight? And I'm like, Derek, are you lying?
just like 12 hours before this, I sat down and like, asked Chuck for permission to marry his daughter and kind of gave him a little bit of the plan on what I was going to do after he said, yeah.
I think my parents fully expected you to do it in front of everyone.
Yeah, no, I was scared to do it in front of you. But it all worked out. The picture, I think, is cool. It made it as her background for a while. So
But now Levi's my background.
That's fair. So yes, Celeste, you guys have a little boy now, and his name's Levi, right? How old is Levi?
7 months.
7 months. And you just made your return to the Xfinity Series at Daytona. That was your first race back after having a baby.
Yeah, and I wanted to make my start sooner than that. I told Derek the whole time. Actually, as soon as I peed on the pregnancy test, I said my first race back's not going to be Daytona. Like that was literally that came out of before I even told him I was pregnant. I told him that. And then he looked at the test and he's like, "Are you sure?" But I really wanted it to be Martinsville, and that would have put me like right at 6, 7 weeks postpartum. And you're cleared at that point. 6 weeks postpartum, you're cleared to work out, cleared to do everything. So I'm like, that's my goal. But the sport revolves around sponsorship, and we were unable to get the sponsorship to do the Martinsville race. So we had the sponsorship lined up for that Daytona race since the last Daytona race that I missed because I was just a few weeks pregnant and I couldn't do it. So yeah, I was really sad because I was sad to tell Wawa that I couldn't do that race. And then because they didn't understand why, and then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have to tell them it's because I'm pregnant. So they're really confused. So they committed then right there. They were like, well, we want to be one of your first races back after you have Levi.
racing
awesome.
is so intertwined with our lives. I think we told her parents that she was pregnant and her sponsors on the same day.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been very open about this, Natalie, kind of on your social media and out there in the world that essentially your plan and your priority has always been have a family, like get married, have a baby, like, and you guys have kind of taken on this thing together, like we said, as a family and your extended family as well, your parents and stuff. But um I wanted to ask you because that's not the normal thing, right? It's often viewed as like you have to wait to have kids, or it's I know from the kind of the country music world, especially for women, it's you get your hit records and you get your you get established and you do all that stuff before you ever start thinking about having a baby and starting a family and all that kind of stuff. Even like for girls, getting married is like a big thing early in their career. So, I wanted to know like how that is for you. Again, I know that you've been very open about it and that that's your priority, and I think that's insanely cool.
Thank
That
you.
that
Yeah,
that
well,
is
um, this is one thing I told my brother this years ago, like a few years ago, actually. I said, to him because he's a model and an actor, and we were just talking about like lifelong goals and plans outside of our career, like marriage, kids, blah, blah, blah. And, he would always go back and tell me, like, well, I want to do my first big movie before I, think about having kids. And as he told me that, it like just registered in my brain that everyone's success comes at different times. So why would you put something on pause that you want so bad? It just doesn't make sense. Levi isn't gonna, having Levi isn't gonna make me not want to race anymore or make my success come at a different time for me. And it comes all at different times. So if you want to have that family because you don't know. You could, like, for instance, my brother could have his big hit when he's 38 years old. And then it's like, oh, well, I could have my kids here while I'm doing it. So, like I wish I could tell all the girls out there that are artists like that same thing. Like you don't know when your success is going to come. It could come tomorrow, it could come in 4 years from now. So don't put something on pause that you want so bad because it's not going to change when your success is going to come. And that's how I've always felt. And I feel though as if I wasn't driving and I was just married to a driver, we would have definitely been married sooner and had kids sooner. Because growing up in this male-dominated industry, that what you said is so true. It's like people put this stigma on getting married and having kids, and then your career's over. So it scared me. That's why I kept telling him 2 years, 2 years, 2 years to get married because it just felt like a scary step and that like it was going to change my career. And once I realized that like it wasn't, and why would I put something on hold that I want so bad for my career that like it doesn't make sense because they're not in line. Like I can be married and I can have kids and I can still go be successful in racing. And I can do it all. And so that's like the one thing that if any girls out there listening, like I want you to really, even boys, because like I told my brother that, that's when I realized it. But like that, it's just, if it's so important to you, don't put it on hold. Don't wait.
Right. So what would you say to the folks who say, I mean, number one, it's already insanely hard for a female driver to find success in this industry, right? And number two, it, a lot of people would say that that's a distraction or that's something that takes your focus away from going fast or from winning races or your work ethic because now your time is devoted to another human life. Like how do you combat that?
Well, I would say number one, that's comment is probably mostly coming from men. And I would, and and if it's not, and if it's coming from other females, I would just want to tell them, like, you don't know until you're put in that position. Like, I wouldn't know if it's going to affect me differently in my race car until I have Levi and until he's at the track with me. Like, I wouldn't have, I don't know. Like, in the past, when I was pregnant with him, I had no idea what that was going to look like. But now that I've experienced it and I was at Daytona with him, it has completely changed my perspective in the best way possible. And it has made me more focused and more determined. And if you ask anyone that has kids, they always say, have them sooner. You'll regret it, have them sooner because you will work 10 times harder when you have a kid and your drive just goes up. So for anyone that is saying that, maybe they don't have kids and they just don't understand.
Right. So Derek, what is your kind of view in all this?
Yeah, daddy.
Um, well, I was definitely I wasn't nervous for Daytona.
He was nervous.
Well, I was nervous. I'm always nervous during the race. I hate Daytona, Talladega. You just never know what happens there. Um, but it knowing the support system and kind of like the team and the little community that we have around us, I know going to the track, like Natalie and I can turn on race car mode and I can follow her around the track and help her with whatever she needs, and she's not going to be worried about Levi. She might think about him and miss him, but she's not worried about his well-being or anything. We had great people to help take care of him, even crossing the stage at Daytona. the guy who signs the deal for Wawa and Natalie to race, I went to the wrong side of the stage and Natalie was getting on the
I know what you
trailer for
mean
the
by.
waves and she was looking for me and Kevin from
I
Wawa.
see Kevin. Yep, I'm like, take my son, please.
So we have good people around us, which I think helps for anyone in any industry to do whatever you want is if you got a good team around you. I think you can do anything. Um, but yeah, no, it's definitely made us almost work harder than we were working before having a kid, knowing that both Natalie and I want Levi to grow up how we did at a racetrack and around racing and hopefully get the same passion that we have for it. And if he doesn't, we'll find whatever his
Maybe
passion is.
hockey.
Huh. Hopefully something that we're familiar with. But if not, I've been getting into tennis lately. I watched the US Open. So I
This is
we
new
might
to me.
we might go learn some tennis.
Wow.
It's been fun. Easy, not easier, but it's not as scary and daunting as I would have thought to have an infant around. But I think I'm doing all right.
Yeah, you're a great dad. You do a good job.
We were just on the simulator like an hour ago racing, so he
That
kept
was
going
good.
over there and like beating on it and wanted to hop in it. So we
Oh,
ripped
good
some laps
signs.
at Bristol.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Chris, what questions you got?
So I want to know what's next on the schedule. When is the next event? When are you getting back in the hot rod?
Well, we've been working on trying to do every single race that is coming up next weekend. So a lot of deals that we come across are like really last minute
Hmm.
because we're always trying to like sell a race to a sponsor, even if it's a week away.
Gotcha.
Um, but for me, I would really like to be in Vegas.
Hmm.
That might happen. I don't know. I hope it does. I know we're close to maybe racing in Vegas. But for Derek, I really wanted him to race the Roval, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. We really want Derek to get cleared for 2026 to be able to race Daytona at the beginning of the year because he's only cleared right now to do mile and a halfs and under in the truck series.
Oh, and
So
I was going
that's
to
our
ask
goal.
trucks or ARCA.
Yeah, in the trucks. So that's our goal is for him to be cleared by the end of the season and for myself to at least do one more race. And we're really trying to also focus on 2026 because it's a lot easier to get sponsorship for 2026 as companies are planning out their budget for next season.
Gotcha. Sounds like a good plan.
Ricky?
Eric, have you been in a truck?
Yeah, I did two truck starts. I did one, my first one at Richmond, and then
Okay.
a couple weeks
Oh,
later. Oh, yeah. I'll let you. Well, so we did a truck start at Richmond, and
Okay.
I haven't been in a race car in 2.5 years at this
That's what I
point.
was going to ask you because it sounded like there was some gap in there while you're
Yeah.
moving, you get a family going, you got a lot, it didn't sound like you were behind the wheel of anything.
Yeah, I raced on and off maybe once every other year if I was
Okay.
lucky. But it was a good 2.5 year gap, and we put together a race deal for me with the help of Natalie and our good friend Josh Rayum, who owns Rayum Brothers Racing. Um, Went out to Richmond and did practice. I
I
mean,
was so ready to be the NASCAR wife.
she was.
It was amazing.
Um, I was nervous as all heck for my 15 minutes of practice that we get, trying to learn the track and figure out what all these switches do and whatnot. And
And pit road.
we went into practice and I made 4 laps maybe. And I came over the radio and I was like, guys, like I'm tired. Like I've been out of the seat for a while. I don't know how I'm gonna do 200 and something laps at Richmond here. I'm tired. Like this is hard to turn. Is something wrong? And I
My exact words were, don't be a bitch. These cars are extremely hard to drive. Like it takes a lot more muscle than your super late model, Derek. We'll come to find
Don't be a
out, I
bitch.
was
Natalie says this, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, like whatever, we qualified in on
then
time.
he's thinking, then he says to me, he's like, wow, like you're really badass. Like if you're driving this thing, like this is hard.
She
Did you have
had
a
me
power
thinking
steering
about
issue, or
like,
what was the deal?
so yeah, we did the whole 200, I think it was a 250 lap race. It might have been less. But I did the whole practice qualifying and the race with no power steering.
Yeah, I knew
And
it.
we
There's
didn't
no
Wow.
find
way.
out
I knew
until
it.
the
Next
week
weekend.
after when Josh jumped in that truck and he was like, dude, this thing has no power steering. And Josh at the time was kind of racing on a budget, so we didn't wreck the truck at Richmond. So he just left it alone, left all the stickers on it, and loaded it back up in the trailer and went to I think it was IRP with it. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, this thing has no power steering. Like you were right."
Yep.
And
I
I
feel
just
so
remember I
bad.
looked at
Had
Natalie.
to be because
Yep.
they're not that
She
hard to
had me
steer.
convinced that I was weak. I was being a baby. If she could do this, like, why can't I? Like,
You can do
she was
this.
over there ripping on me. I got out of the truck. I was dead tired, and she's always getting out of the truck and like perky and ready to do an interview. And I'm like dying. And come to find out, the truck had no power steering. So I give myself a pat on the back for
But you
doing.
didn't even know for a week that it had no. Did she give you crap the whole week?
Yeah.
She still gives me crap for it, and she even knows she's wrong. She just likes to remind me.
So what was the second truck race you did?
I went to Milwaukee, and that was a fun one because Natalie raced Daytona, and the trucks weren't at Daytona. They were in Milwaukee that weekend. And I drove up to Wisconsin by myself. She raced in Florida, and then she flew up the morning of race day, and one of our friends slash sponsors picked her up and brought her to the track, and she met me out there. That race was a lot more uneventful than the Richmond one. Power steering worked and everything.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that was
So
just a fun experience.
yeah, where did you end up in that race?
I did not do well in that race. I didn't do well in the Richmond race either to just hop in the truck. I think the Milwaukee race was my second
You
race
beat
that
the
I
team owner.
yeah,
I was like, yeah, go Derek.
but I
Listen, that's a
went to
win.
Richmond and I experienced my
Well, it's
first
a win that she wasn't
shots
cussing him and
and
telling him how weak he is just to begin with.
Yeah.
oh, so we're gonna try and get me licensed up in NASCAR to go out and have Natalie and I duel it out in one of NASCAR series.
That would
That's
be
awesome.
Here's
badass.
the
Yeah.
thing. Here's the thing. So I don't know if you're familiar with this in racing, but you got like the top tier teams and like the lower budget teams.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I will for sure be in a truck in a top tier team. Now, if they give me their best equipment, who knows? But Derek, I'm gonna make sure he's with a low budget team.
Just to tip
Wow,
the
Derek.
scales.
Wow.
Wow. Awesome.
Wow, Derek.
That's my goal.
I'm okay with it. Natalie and I talk quite often to where if something rolled across my lap to where someone just needed me to start and park a vehicle for 5 years, I will gladly do it if they just get me to the racetrack.
Fair enough.
We were talking about that. He's like, in the next like year, if I could just go and start and park a cup car, I'd be happy. I'm like, all right, well, we can make that a goal.
I just need
Let's
something
do
to pay
it.
for my dirt racing.
Yeah.
So has there ever been a husband versus wife in NASCAR?
There's been in the truck series at the when they did Bristol and it was dirt,
No, I think it was at Knoxville.
Knoxville.
Jessica and Stuart Friesen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's
They
right.
raced against each other.
Yep.
She used my seat.
I don't know if we count like the Stenhouse Danica thing.
Well, they weren't married.
They weren't married.
You can still count it.
It was close.
It was close enough.
They shared a
It'd be
bus.
so
up there.
epic though to just be like dating someone you're racing against.
She went to victory lane with him. It counts.
That's true.
Hey, if it ever happens, all I know if Natalie's talking smack and we gotta practice, like she better watch out.
Fair enough.
Gonna wreck me in practice?
Without any hesitation.
We need a reality.
Oh my God.
Derek, this is not helping sell the sponsors right now.
This will get your sponsor
We'll
some
get
heat.
max
That's-
TV time.
Well,
I will
that's
get
true.
out of my car and punch him.
I mean, I think just the husband versus wife storyline would attract sponsors.
You know, you think it would. It's been a little bit of a harder sell than we thought it would be, but I think we have a few people that have been thinking about the idea, and we'll try and make it happen in 2026.
Well, good luck to you. I hope it works out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just think the story of you guys and how you kind of handle everything and how you kind of approach life in general together is a cool story. And it's fun to watch along with your TikToks and your Instagram reels. Rick has seen none of them because he doesn't have social media.
All
But
right. So I knew you were going to take the opportunity to make to bust on me, because you always do. So I was going to ask, and maybe it's busting on you, how many followers does she have compared to us, Chad?
a
10 times?
lot more than us.
I knew it. It was a lot, but how much is a lot?
Natalie, how many followers do you have?
On Facebook, I have like over 200,000. And on Instagram, I have 189,000.
Yeah.
Let's just call
we're
it
cooked.
200 for both.
We're cooked.
So 200,000 for both. Oh, hold on. We're close, Chris. Let me see. We just got to get 200,000. We got to lop off that zero, that zero, that zero. Yeah, 200,000 to 200. Not bad.
We're making traction. People are
We
finally
started with
noticing.
11.
And
We're
my
gaining.
my math was pretty good there, Chad, because I'm not from Alabama.
We're gaining on it. We started with 11.
Whose
We-
driving suits do you have in the background there?
So that's why I was kind of honing in when you guys were talking about selling sponsorship, because I actually sold. I worked for Sony for 15 more days. Actually, I worked for them for 36 years, and I sold Penske deal with Ryan Newman and a Priest deal. And actually, that's why when you said DGR, Priest, our first deal with Priest was in a DGR truck at Pocono in 20. What would that have been, Chris? 22? When did I join up with you at SHR? 23, right?
23, yeah.
That's when Priest went in the 41?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 22. In 22, we did a deal with DGR and put Priest in the truck. And he ran second, killed it. The whole race was awesome. And I think he lost to Kristen Eckes. So that's what the suits are.
awesome.
That's cool.
That's what the suit. That's Priest's suit, and the Sony Vega one is one of our crew members.
That's really
awesome.
cool.
All right. Any more questions before we let them go and let them get their baby back?
No, listen, that was an awesome topic. Thank you again for spending the time with us and telling us your story, and from snowmobiles to super lakes to.
Yeah, I want to see the snowmobile track. I didn't know snowmobile
Those-
racing was a thing.
If
That's
They
because you're
are
from
crazy.
Alabama.
If you have a minute to go on YouTube once you're all done before you go to bed, watch Eagle River Snowmobile Championship Derby track, and you'll be amazed. It's an ice oval. It looks like a Martinsville with like a bank of a Bristol almost. And
What?
these dudes on snowmobiles are
Racing
just
ice.
hanging off the edge, and they're going $130 into the corner,
Stop.
slinging it into the corner like a sprint car.
Yeah.
And
On a
yeah,
snowmobile?
wild. Yeah,
So
get
do they?
outta here.
So then, in that instance, the tracks are studded. They
Yeah.
stud the tracks
Yeah.
on the
yeah.
snow machines.
Tracks are
Interesting.
studded, and the skis have like razor sharp blades on them for the carbites.
Right.
They're very particular. I got to race a sled, and Chuck came to coach me, and they're very particular on their skis. You don't want to dull those carbites. But no, it's really cool.
So do you like work this
wild
thing with
tracks.
like a Zamboni or something?
Kind of.
They'll plow them like with snow plows to clear all the ice dust off, and then
And then
at
water 'em.
night they walk around or drive around with a water truck and throw on as much ice as they can for the next day of racing.
Wow.
And how big did you say the track was?
It was a half
It's
mile.
at a half mile. So
Wow.
it's like, yeah.
It looks
Like a
like
half mile
Martinsville
Martinsville, but with
with into
banks.
Bristol.
Yeah.
And
That's
they did it
badass.
up cool. They had suites in the corners and a big center section of suites. You could stand outside on a hill.
An expo
Standing
hall
outside
with
in
two
Wisconsin.
bars. I bartended at one of them.
Mm.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
Are they still running it?
My parents sold it about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The racetrack is still up and running though.
That's cool.
Not as cool as when my parents had it, of
That's
course.
fair.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
All
Wow,
right.
that's badass.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed getting into your story. And Derek, I'm sorry she was so hard on you like the whole episode. Um,
He'll be fine.
I thought it was going to be like this sweet, cuddly, you know, family loving episode, and she took every chance to just take shots at you.
Oh no, yeah. When it comes to racing, like my last race before I got pregnant was at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I was sponsored by Bikini Zone, and it was the night before. This is how I know the baby changed me because my last race before I had Levi, the night before, which happened before every race, we fight. We almost kill each other. We almost get in a divorce.
Not we, just you.
Oh, whatever. I remember him showering. He's in the shower,
Classic.
and it's at night. I don't know what we're fighting about, but I told him that he better do something or I'm going to burn this house down. And I'm screaming at him as he's in the shower. And then I go to Daytona, and the night before the race, it's calm. And I'm like, Derek, I've changed.
It was weird.
Mm.
Derek,
for
I
you,
feel like
Derek.
she'd just be yelling. You're like, okay, okay.
Yeah, no, it was literally the night before a race or the night before we leave to go to a race. It was like, why are you breathing like that? So it
Poor Derek.
it all worked out. I understand. I'm nervous. I just don't talk. So she gets mad.
Yeah. I take it out on people I love, which is Derek.
Well, at
That
least you
was
know that
Derek
going in.
justifying it.
That's
Like
the
I only get mad
rationale.
at the people I love.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, if you're free, come hang out with us at Old Armor on Roval Weekend. Derek
Yeah, come check us out.
we'll get you some beer so that you can chill out and make it through as Natalie yells at you. But we would love to have you come hang out with us. And thank you again for doing this. We appreciate it. We know you guys are busy, so we appreciate you making the time for us. And we can't wait to see you both back in a race car and this husband versus wife matchup.
We're definitely gonna keep an eye out.
For sure.
I got your number now. I'll give you a heads up.
Yeah, please
Appreciate
do.
it.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah,
You're very
thanks for-
welcome.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Thanks for hanging in.
So I went wide open, hoping for a little taste.